You are listening to Single Smart Female. This is Jen, letting it all hang out for your love life, examining your dating experiences, and answering your hot topic dating questions. Just you and me. No topic is off limits and no filters involved. I am here to help you do dating on your terms. If you have a question that you would like me to answer or would like to immediately upgrade your love life with our collection of classes and exclusive merchandise, meet me over now at singlesmartfemale.com. Hello, single smart females around this great, big, beautiful world. Jen here. Today, guess what? We are going to provide genius answers to your dating and love life questions, because it is Q&A today. I'm going to start with a question that comes from Miss Bay Area Mama, who's 35, all the way from Martinez, California. She writes, "Hi Jen, I've been listening to your podcast since early this summer and it has really changed my life. Having a fairy godmama has helped me see that I matter and I deserve to be adored, enjoy dating, and have him my way. My whole life, I've been conditioned to believe I should accept whatever attention I get and be grateful, or die waiting patiently for Prince Charming to come sweep me off my feet. Because women who go after what they want in love and otherwise are not nice women, right? They are bitches or sluts or maybe even in the closet. Thank you for destroying this stereotype. It has made my life so hard. Finding your podcast has made me feel more bold in my belief that I deserve to be adored. I am not a bitch for wanting to take hold of my life, and I don't have to wait around for scraps in order to be considered nice. I can't thank you enough for backing me up in that. It's lifted a lot of my shoulders." So ladies, my single smart females out there, I'm actually going to pause before I dive into the heart of this question and address everything Miss Bay Area Mama has said right here. This is incredibly important. If you hear one thing from me, this is what I want you to hear above all. You do not have to play into society's notion of women that they're teaching you that men want. Okay, you can step into my world of being an adored woman, and you can do that as a strong, independent, successful, badass woman. You can be a mama, you can not be a mama, you can be going for all the things that you want in this life. In fact, I'm going to encourage you and I'm going to be on the sidelines screaming, go, 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 single smart female, go, and run hard, run fast, have fun. And I'm going to tell you the truth. The truth is that you still, even with all those things going on in your life, can create the love life that you want. Now, I do concede there are some things that will have to be tweaked. Many of you are dating and interacting with men in a way that does not serve you and does not serve men. You're actually setting men up to fail with you. But I'm going to help you tweak that. At the same time, I am not going to change who you are fundamentally, because that is the sexiest piece of you. You be strong. You be independent. You be successful. You go make that damn money. You get yours, girl. Get it. Totally take it. And then I'll help you create the love life that you want. Now let's dive into Miss Bay Area Mama's question. She continues writing, "One of the amazing men I'm dating, I'll call him Sweet Chef, asked me if I'm still on Match.com. I don't block men after we meet because I like to keep the conversation open. By the way, I'm a digital hoarder, but this time it bit me in the butt. Anyways, I scoured over your podcast last night trying to figure out how to answer him and told him, I really like you. I have a lot of fun with you and I really want to see where this goes. But at the same time, I don't want to put all of my eggs in one basket until I'm ready. And also until you've made it clear to me that you're ready. I want to know each other really well before deciding to be committed to each other. I didn't want to use the "are you asking me to be a girlfriend" that you mentioned because I was not ready to be his girlfriend. He said, I think I'm ready and I understand, but then later today didn't want to talk about it and asked if we could talk about it later. He treats me very well and I've told him I love how he treats me. But we've only been dating about 2 months and he's been consistently treating me well. I don't know if that's long enough for me to decide if it's consistent. Anyway, I couldn't think of a playful way to say, number one, how do I answer confrontation like that if I'm not ready to be exclusive, but don't want him to go away? He wants to meet my son, and he treats me the best out of the rest of my entourage, but I'm afraid of the 3-month doom. Help. And number two, has it been long enough to establish that he will treat me well? I feel like he's been very consistent, but I'm not sure I'm ready. Okay, so there's a little more to this question as well, but I'm going to again stop right here and address all of this. So, by the way, I like Sweet Chef. He sounds like he's a good guy, and I'm very excited that you are dating him. But let's talk to what you said to him, which I thought was great. I might have shortened it just a little bit. That's me. That's a personal thing. I like to talk in sound bites with guys and then let them ask more if they need to. Now, I noticed something. You called this a confrontation. He said, I think I'm ready and I understand, which isn't really a confrontation. He's just telling you that he's ready to be with you. That's a pretty cool thing, all right? That is a perfectly normal thing for adored women to start experiencing more often. Yes, as you step into my world of becoming an adored woman, you're going to have more men step up and say, I want to be in a relationship with you, because they can feel how amazing it is to be with you and they want to create something with you. Now, with that said, that doesn't mean that you owe them that yet. You still owe it to yourself above all to keep exploring your options and dating until you are ready, which we're going to come back to that in just a second, because that is super important here and you've already brought it up and then you asked a question about it. But I want to address this more about what he said to you. One of the reasons we get nervous about answering men in a very bold way, but in a kind way, which is what you did. I thought that was fantastic. You said you weren't ready. I like to use, I'm really flattered, but I'm not ready quite yet, and then go from there. But the reason we're so afraid to do this when guys bring this up is because we have a couple things in the back of our head. A, what if he walks away? What if you tell him you're not ready and he walks away? B, what if you make him mad? What if he gets really angry with you and calls you names or says anything crappy to you because you aren't ready yet? And there are a list of things that we have been conditioned in a way to be fearful of. And the truth is that we do have, some legit fearfulness in this. As, society is changing, but historically, women were viewed as property. So they felt entitled to our love and affection when they decided that they wanted it. Now, that is definitely changing, and you have seen men evolve quite a bit, but our fears are legitimately based. They've been genetically passed down to us through not only our genes, but through history, through stories. So I get where we women get hung up there at times, especially women who are concerned about not being perceived as nice. This is truly important as well. We women are so afraid of being considered a bitch, unless we've just decided to jump on the bitch train and nothing else matters, that we actually don't stand up for ourselves a lot, even in romance. We'll bitch about things. We'll actually do bitch about things. But in order to be perceived as nice, we won't stand for who we really want. I want to first say kudos to you. Like, you have the biggest romantic fairy godmama high five for telling him that you weren't ready yet. That was fantastic. And that's what I need more women to do. You want it all in romance. You need to be willing to say, you know what? I really like you, but I'm not quite ready to be exclusive yet. Because as I have mentioned, your exclusivity is a gift. Every single one of you single smart females need to quit giving it away without profound consideration first of whom you're giving it to. That is, I can't tell you how important that is. If you need to write that down somewhere, you write it down, you post it on your wall. You get to choose when you are in an exclusive relationship. You are not at the mercy of men, especially as an adored woman, to determine when you get to be in a relationship. It's just as much your choice. And in many cases, more your choice than it is men. All right? So I also want to go back to the fact you asked on this question. We called it a confrontation. It's not really a confrontation. It's just a statement. You can tell him, I'm really enjoying what's going on here and I'd like to see where this goes, but I'm not quite ready there. As for meeting your son, this is big for me. I am a big, huge, huge proponent of not introducing men to our children unless that we are in an exclusive relationship with them. There's a couple of reasons why. The main reason is because children don't deserve to have men come in and out of their life. I have seen too many women that are constantly introducing men to their children in hopes that this is going to work out this time. And then all of a sudden that guy is gone because they had this huge blow up and it didn't work out. And these women hadn't really taken the time to decide whether or not this is the relationship that they want. This guy had not had enough time to prove himself to her first in order to earn the opportunity to meet her child. Ladies, your children, always, if you are a single mama, you know this, they come first. And I understand we always think that we need to introduce to see how well they get along with the children, to see whether or not this is a viable relationship. At least 8 times out of 10, if not more, if he is completely enamored with you, which you give him the time to do by dating and allowing things to unfold instead of jumping straight into a relationship, if he has that time to really become enamored with you, not just the initial honeymoon phase of everything, but he has invested in you and he takes you out and he courts you and he dates you, he will be okay with your children and things can work out very well because you need that established relationship of love, respect, and adoration first in reference to you. Super important. Hear me on that. And I like, Miss Bay Area Mama, that you haven't introduced him to your son yet. And I would like you to wait. And you can tell him, very easy to say is, look, I appreciate and I'm really flattered that you want to meet my son. But that's something I'd like to do once we decide we want to be in an exclusive relationship together, okay? With that said, let's talk about the 3-month mark. 3-month doom, as you call it, which I want you to stop calling it a 3-month doom because you're kind of setting yourself up for some failure there because sometimes things we say are self-fulfilling prophecies, ladies. Self-fulfilling prophecies. Careful with that energy and those words you throw out there because you've had some bad past experiences. We've all got them. We really do. And some of them were worse than others, yes, but don't actually declare with your words how things are going to be. Now, let me tell you a little story. I had a 3-month period that I decided that I wanted to wait at least with my husband because I knew at the time, if you've read my bio and you know anything about us, this guy was a hot mess when I first met him. So even though he'd asked me a few times to be in exclusivity, I told him no. And in my head, I didn't tell him this number, by the way, ladies. Do not go say, oh, I'm going to wait till after 3 months or whatever. But 3 months happened to be mine. I knew that he'd never dated a woman for longer than 3 months. So I wanted to see what it was like after 3 months if he would continue to step up. And as you know, he has. He has stepped up brilliantly. But that was helpful to me, and it was just the number that he handed to me because he told me he'd never been with a woman longer than 3 months. And for some reason, that's what I wanted to see. I think we were dating 4 to 5 months before I agreed to exclusivity with him, but 3 months I knew was the benchmark. So you get to make that decision. If you want this to last longer than 3 months because you want to see where it goes, let it last longer than 3 months. Some women decide longer than that. It is up to you. And if he is meant to be your man, definitely. As long as you're having a good time with him, you're seeing him regularly when you can, you're appreciating him because that's where men thrive the most, is feeling appreciated and like you actually genuinely like being around them. He's going to stay and he's going to keep stepping up if he is meant to be your man. Has it been long enough to establish that he will treat me well? Possibly, but I don't necessarily think for you in this situation that you should go ahead. I think you should wait at least the 3 months just to prove to yourself that this is going to continuously be fun and viable. Not that you won't ever have your hiccups. I do want to address, and I know I'm going over lots of little details today, but I think this is important for all of you ladies to hear. You said something about him not wanting to talk about it later. You said, I think I'm ready, I understand, but then later we didn't want to talk about it and asked if we and when you asked if you could talk about it later. It's okay that he doesn't want to keep talking about it. Men are contending with their own wiring, their own ego. As long as he doesn't become extremely aggressive, mean to you afterwards, or treat you like shit in any ways, it's okay that he doesn't want to talk about the fact that you guys aren't getting together right then. You can continue, and in fact, I suggest continuing having fun dating and really focus on that in the beginning, because that is going to fortify your connection more than anything. When you have a great basis at the beginning for having fun together, then when the hard stuff comes up, you know that you can get back there. Because yes, it is important that we know how to go through the hard stuff together, but it's also know how to create as much fun as we can when we can, because life is going to hand you some shit. We all know that. But when life hands you some shit, you want to know that the two of you can come together and support each other and then get back to the fun, because that's going to always reignite the connection. Now I'm going to read the rest of Bay Area Mama's inquiry. She writes even more that says, I'm a very independent woman and have battled this stereotype in her life about being the nice woman she's talking about. I've never been married. Even when I got pregnant, my son's father and I decided not to get married just because of the pregnancy, as it was unplanned and we didn't know each other that well. Good job, by the way. It's very important. Since then, I've been back dating, but it usually breaks off around 3 months. Again, that 3-month doom, that's now being turned into a 3-month period, which you're just going to prove to yourself that you can. I took a year off because I was tired of it and I felt amazing. To give some backstory, my son is autistic, and so I had a lot to keep me busy. I was an independent freelancer in order to be more available for his services. But last fall, I met someone online, and if I had a list, he would have checked off every single box. Okay, long story short about this, he ended up being a big exaggerator. He had a scary temper, and in 5 months of dating, I never met any of his friends. She finally broke it off with him in January, and she was surprised that she had the guts to do so because she was so in love with him, even though he treated her very badly and she felt lonely and abused. Ladies, this is so very important. One of the reasons I'm going to keep pushing all of you to step up for who you are and what you want is because I want this piece of our lives to start to go away. And we do that by being willing to stand up for ourselves and not try to play the nice girl anymore. You don't have to be a punishing bitch. You can be a bitch, but you don't have to be a punishing bitch emotionally with people. But it is in your best interest and in the interest of people around you to step up into your romantic life. I'm very proud of you, Miss Bay Area Mama, for not staying in this. And I want to encourage any woman who ever finds herself in this situation to walk away very quickly and fast. Yes, it is scary as hell, but you must do it. You have to do it. There's no other option for you. So, and if you have a girlfriend who's in that same situation, you tell her exactly the same thing. There's no other option. Just go. It's going to be very scary, but you can do it. Now, final part of Miss Bay Area Mama's entry. She writes, she's actively dating 2 amazing men in the process of replacing one that she's placed on pause. She has a list of dates ready to go and has been really surprised at how eagerly these men want to take her even on the most expensive dates. My first kiss with Sweet Chef was on a gondola ride at sunset. Wow, that sounds fantastic. I've been prioritizing behavior I like, go adored woman you, and ignoring or redirecting it when it gets too sexy for me or when something else I don't like happens. I cannot believe how well this works. It's crazy. Okay, so ladies, I want you to hear a few pieces of it. A, she came out of a scary relationship. And on the other side, she has found love and excitement again. We can definitely move on from crap-ass dating experiences in our past, and you can start to learn to trust guys again. It does happen, but trust is something that you build with action, not inaction. So you actually have to practice it. I know, again, it's very challenging. I want to talk here about Mantourage dating. dating more than one man at a time until you meet your forever man. She's actively dating 2 amazing men, and she's replacing one that she's placed on pause. So I think if I got her correctly, that's 3. That's a great number. She has a list of dates. Make a list of dates that would you be excited to go on, especially for your first date. Ladies, please quit going out for coffee and drinks and dinner and stuff like that. You will have much better results with your dating experiences if you start to let men know what it is you want, what it is you like, what you can get excited about. And again, you can always do it in tiers, like price tiers. So if you feel more comfortable just asking for the small stuff at the beginning, if you want to go for ice cream instead of going for alcohol, I think that's fantastic. And I think that's a much better choice for a first date. Anyways, because I don't want you ladies drinking a lot on a first date, because I want you in all 6 of your senses to make the decisions that are best for you. She mentions here, Miss Bay Area Mama, how really surprised at how eagerly this man want her to take her, even on the expensive ones that she asked for. Yes, because she's an adored woman. She's stepping into the space of, I'm really worth it. They can feel, too, that they've got some competition, and she has an energy about her that is undeniable. Plus, she's a woman who knows what she wants. Do you ladies have any idea of how sexy that is? Men are so frustrated with the fact that we just can't clue them in. They want to make us happy so bad. They can't make us happy because only we can make us happy, but what we can do is let them contribute to our happiness by cluing them in, especially in the beginning when they're asking, what would you like to do? Don't tell them whatever you want. That's crap. It's not going to get you anything you want. And again, I'm going to wrap up this segment with the fact that she says, I cannot believe how well this works. Well, as your romantic fairy godmama, I can. And I'm really excited to see what happens with Mr. Sweet Chef. And I 100% support you in going past the 3-month mark. And then after that, if you decide you want him or another man to be your exclusive partner, girl, this is totally up to you, and you go get everything you want. Today's show is sponsored by thecouragekit.com. Are you tired of meeting craptastic men, going on craptastic dates, and feeling craptastically inept at dating and love? Let me rework your dating experiences, single lady. Fun, pleasure, and magic included. No experience required. I'll see you at thecouragekit.com. Welcome back, single smart female. Guess what? It's segment number 2. And in our second segment today, we're going to address another awesome single smart female listener question. This comes from Miss Too Nice. And Miss Too Nice writes, Dear Jen, I'm recently divorced, and since I got married right out of college, I have very little experience with dating. Now that I'm single, though, I feel like I have to fight guys off with a stick. I don't feel ready to date seriously again, but I'm getting asked out left and right. And the one guy I tried to go out on a date with won't take no for an answer. I hate rejecting these poor guys, and I don't think I'm very good at it, hence the coming back. Please give me advice on giving good, clear rejections that won't hurt their feelings, but will also ensure that we both move on with our lives. I was divorced in May, but it became finalized a month ago. I dated one guy that I met on Tinder for 2 dates after the divorce finalized. Then I realized I should take some time to be single. Many friends and people I meet just by living my life have been asking me out, but I have decided to wait at least a few months to date again so I can focus on schoolwork and emotional being. Okay, dear Miss Too Nice, guess what? I think you're doing an awesome thing. I think taking care of yourself by taking some time to just focus on schoolwork and emotional being, especially after being married young and recently divorced, is a fantastic idea. And when you do decide to date again, even if you're not ready to go into a committed relationship, which I completely support, because remember, man-tourage dating more than one man at a time until you find your forever man, or indefinitely if you so choose. Dating should be about collecting romantic information about yourself. It should be about exploring who you are romantically. It shouldn't be about having to emotionally caretake for men. Okay? It doesn't mean you have to be horrible to men, but it's not your responsibility to emotionally caretake for men while you are dating. So first thing I want to tell you is that my guess is, and I know you alluded to this, but my guess is that you weren't being very clear with your rejections, and I am going to help you with that more. But I can't promise you that you're not going to hurt a guy's feelings. I just can't do that. Different guys react in different ways. And as we talked about in the first segment, sometimes you are going to get guys that don't respond well. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't reject them. We as women have to keep standing up for what we want. And this is one of those ways. I like to do everything in a kind manner and a kind, firm manner without wishy-washiness, which I will talk to you about in just a second, and some different ways that you can do that. But I'm going to let all of you know and be very honest. You will have some guys that throw what I call a man tantrum. And instead of indulging them, you just walk away because that's their own shit. It's not yours to fix. It is not your responsibility as an adored woman to be obligated to emotionally take care of every man just because you don't want to be with them. And just because a man wants to be with you doesn't obligate you to want to be with him. So that's something that I want you all to be very clear on, because we still have a lot of mixed emotions around all this, a lot of guilt that comes up. And I know that guilt comes up, even then fear comes up as well. Even though we claim to be very strong women, we claim to know what we want, we claim to go after the things that we want in our life, we do. But that stuff is still coming up for us because we're very unclear with our rejections. And then sometimes we're a complete bitch about it when it's not necessary. So I'm going to teach you my clear, concise way to do it. But you'd always reserve bitch mode, which bitch mode is viable if you get a jackass guy. You're more than welcome to go all out. Unleash your inner bitch on him if he's a complete jackass. Okay? So let's get started with this. My first response that I like to use when a guy approaches me or asks me out is say, I'm flattered, but no thank you. Now, I know what goes through your head when I say this. Well, Jen, he's going to say something else. A lot of guys are perfectly fine with that. And they'll say thank you. They're actually very kind about it. A lot of men, those are real men. They get it. Okay? It is very challenging for men because they get rejected so much to ask women out because of the constant rejection. They get a lot of it. So I lean towards trying to understand that there is constant rejection, and I want to say something kind, but still be very clear. I am flattered, but no thank you. But what if he does push a little further and say, well, why not? You tell him, and you can have fun with this. You say, unfortunately, that's top secret information, and you, kind sir, do not have security clearance. And then you just walk away, and you can smile. Have some fun with that. All right, now, let's escalate this a little bit. Actually, we're not going to escalate it too much. But what if this is happening online? Let's say you got on a date with somebody and it didn't work out, or you have somebody that's very persistent with you online, something like that. Or this also can be used to break off something with somebody if you have gone out on dates with them. You can tell them, unfortunately, I do not think a romantic connection would develop, and I wish you the best with dating and love. Very simple. Notice I am not elaborating on my feelings and my whys. I do not owe him a why. I do not have to explain to him, no matter what he thinks in his head, no matter what he feels he's entitled to, I do not owe him that, okay? So I keep it very short. Most great men, very receptive to that. I've had many women come back to me and report to me that they've had guys that actually said thank you for at least letting him know, because most women are too afraid to speak up for themselves. And that's the truth. That's why we don't have more of what we want in our life. Yeah, there are some external factors pressing against us, but ladies, more than anything, we're too afraid to speak up for ourselves and to try it first in a kind manner that people are really receptive to, in a very clear manner. And then we get really flustered and frustrated because we don't feel like we're being heard when we're not being kind or clear, and we're not standing up for ourselves. And then all of a sudden we have a blow up and then wonder why we're still not being heard. Okay? Blow ups, going all out bitch on people, that's when you've been pressed up against a wall, an emotional wall. Okay, that's when you have somebody that just won't quit. Then you let them have it. Okay, if you get backed into a corner, that's when you let somebody have it emotionally backed into a corner. It's not your go-to if you want to be really heard. Because what happens is then all women are doing this all the time. And then we're just seen as these overly emotional creatures instead of being heard for all the brilliant things that we bring to this life, all the brilliant things that we have to say. So clear, concise, stand up for yourself first. If you get backed into an emotional corner, you've got a real jackass, then unleash your bitch all over him, okay? But stop being afraid to stand up for yourself. Most guys are very, very receptive, and they need a woman to put them in their place, especially if you do it first kindly. It works really, really well. The third way I would like to talk about, this is not quite as soft. It's much more stern, but it's where I would start before unleashing my bitch. But if you have somebody who's being really persistent, who doesn't get it, and I'm going to go with first, Miss Too Nice, that you really haven't told him clearly yet. But let's say you do tell him clearly, and then he says this, the last thing I would say to him is, I'd appreciate if you would not ask me again. Your persistence is making me uncomfortable. Most men do not want to make you uncomfortable. That triggers a response in them. So that's the last thing, because they know if they make you uncomfortable, it's unlikely they're going to bring you closer. So that is a great way to approach it. I say, I appreciate if you would not ask me out again. Your persistence is making me uncomfortable. If anything after that, you need to block, you need to delete, you need to avoid. If your friends inquire, let's say this is a friend of a friend, you need to tell them, I need you to make this very clear that I am not interested. Okay? And keep it very short and sweet. Again, sound bites. Men hear better when you first talk in sound bites. If they need to inquire more, then you have a receptive audience. Start with short sound bites, concise, but obviously standing up for yourself, clearly stating what you want. Don't go into a long diatribe explaining why, because you're diluting everything you say. When you do that, you are making it less potent, less about the guilt that you feel when you're explaining yourself is seeping into that conversation. And that's the piece he hears instead of the, hello, this is what I want, this is what I accept, and thank you. We as women, we as adored women, do not owe men explanations of every one of our moves, every one of our feelings, every one of our decisions. That is something that we get to retain as ours. And if we want to share pieces at times, that's fine. But I will caution you that over-explaining things is one of the reasons men are not hearing us the way that we deserve to be heard. And we over-explain things. We call ourselves great communicators, but we over-explain things because we're insecure about our communication. So get more confident, step into this piece of you. I know women, it doesn't matter how bold she is in other parts of her life. I know lots of women, even the women at the top of their game, they fall apart right here when it comes to communicating with men in that clear, concise, standing up for yourself in fun and playful way at first. And then if that part doesn't work, then you just shut all that out and then you can let them have it. But when you start here, you're going to start seeing more and more men respect and hear everything you have to say and inquire about more, giving you everything that you want and desire from your communications. And it also takes a lot of pressure off of you. Just try it. You'll see. Okay, Lover Girl, it's time for the final thought on today's show. The right man will stay even when you stand up for yourself. So do it in a way that both of you win. Clear, concise, and appreciative. Today's show is sponsored by thecouragekit.com. Are you tired of meeting craptastic men, going on craptastic dates, and feeling craptastically inept at dating and love? Let me rework your dating experiences, single lady. Fun, pleasure, and magic included. No experience required. I'll see you at thecouragekit.com. Hey, Lover Girl, this is Jen again. Don't forget to subscribe to the show in your favorite podcast app, as well as share Single Smart Female with all of your single smart girlfriends. And if you would like to play around and learn more about Mantourage dating, come see me at singlesmartfemale.com. Talk to you next time.